Royal Sun Alliance Chase on the Wednesday. I'm just rifling through the Timeform ratings here, Kieran. 162 and a little P for 1833. How do you rate his chance before we get Paul's view?
Yeah, he's got a solid chance. I don't give him the chance that Phil Smith gives him. I'm sure Paul won't be running him in a handicap off the mark that he's been given officially. Time for Rupert absolutely stands out on figures. Unlike Q Card, there's no particular doubt in my mind. I'm struggling to find a negative with him, other than the very obvious one, which is the fact that the price has long gone. I think this is really, really weak as an RSA goes. The one I'm most interested in is Wymot for the Hennessy next year. He's got it stamped right the way through him.
Okay, I mean, Timeform have Time for Rupert a long way clear.
Yeah.
So is he a good thing or not? Have you got reservations?
But just same as you, Sean, it all comes down to price. And if you said price the race up from scratch, what would you go? You'd go about even money 11 to 10, which is exactly what he is. So it's just price for me, but you know, it's same as any race. It comes down to how you compare to your tissue. You can't just back them blind because they're the best horse in the race.
Not an ideal preparation, is it? What's the latest on 1833, Paul?
Yeah, he's in good form. Actually, after he won at Newbury on his debut over fences, a Grade 2 race that day, I backed him at 33 to 1 for next year's Hennessy, and though he's rated 159, whatever, Denman a quarter or something ran in the race next year, he could be on a nice mark. He's done nothing but improve. He won a bumper, he won a point-to-point as a 5-year-old. It was a little disappointing actually, but basically I couldn't train him. He was so backward and had sore shins. Won at Cheltenham over hurdles in his debut. Then he won a Grade 2 and he won 50-odd lengths the other day. The problem with all these novice chasers, all they're ever doing is beating 2 and 3 runners. And you're not going to know till they run. But one thing he does, he's very much in the mode of Denman. He bowls along, he jumps well, and he's definitely improving. And yeah, obviously we all like our own horses, but I've always loved this horse. And I've been on to Ruby for the last 2 or 3 weeks. You know, is he going to ride Mick Dagenham? Is he going to ride this lad? And Ruby's got the opinion that he thinks probably he's a horse for for next year. But I don't know. I think he should be riding in next week. That's my view. But he obviously, especially in the light of what Mick Dagenham's been doing of late, and interested in the comments there. But I just adore the horse, and I think, these days, I looked at Denman winning the Sun Alliance a couple of years ago. You want a horse in the first 2 or 3 that jumps and gallops, and horses, you don't get hold-up horses win on that old track anymore on good ground. You've got to ride, and he's got, but whether he's a 159 horse or not, Phil Smith has got his opinion. I don't know what you think, but he is a good horse, and I think he'll run really well.
Trainers don't always like to comment on other people's horses and their situation, but for Time for Rupert, the gap between we last saw him and now, is that a big issue coming into this race?
I don't know. I mean, if you look at just a hurdle form, this time last year, 1833 was rated 120 over hurdles, and Time for Rupert was probably near on 170 on form, but things change. I don't know. Time for Rupert, obviously, he's been second to Big Bucks. It was awesome form. But you know what old Big Bucks is? He only ever does enough, so you can never really judge entirely on that. He's the one we've all got to beat, and there's loads of horses in here that have got chances, but I am, and I'm being biased probably, but I'm sweet on 1833 because I've always liked him.
Okay. We mentioned Mick Dagenham in the arc. This is more likely his race, but Paul thinks it should be an easy decision for Ruby Walsh to be on 1833 rather than Mick Dagenham. Would you agree, Johnny?
Oh, yeah, obviously, as I was saying, I mean, I wouldn't put my son on Mick Dagenham in a race like this, No, I don't have one, but I wouldn't put
Can you ring Ruby for me tomorrow?
I'd be surprised if Ruby weren't of something of a similar opinion. I mean, the heart can rule the head.
That's what I said to him, but I don't know. I think I think I could be in trouble for the vibes I get.
I don't think they're not disappointed in his work generally, but I mean that's not neither here nor there really at this stage. I don't really like Jesse's Dream. I think he's beatable. Maybe his price is okay, but I love Time for Rupert. I know his price isn't great, but he loves Cheltenham. I don't think any of these would have done what he did to Big Bucks last year, which admittedly wasn't a lot, but I don't think any of them could have lived with him as he did, and I think he keeps a lot within himself as well.
We know that he's far and away better than these as a hurdler, and he's looked a natural couch, in fairness, over fences so far, but he has only run twice, and we haven't seen him since December. You going to take him on, Time for Rupert?
I will take him on because I think it's a bad price. I was with Paul Webber at Bangor last Wednesday, and he said he ran 3 horses on New Year's Day at Bangor: Soul Survivor, a bumper horse who ran terrible, Keith Farraga was tailed off, and another creature I've forgotten. And they all scoped bad, and he wanted to run Time for Rupert, and he didn't. And when a trainer wants to run it, Paul knows, obviously not more than I ever do, but when you have a plan, Paul, you know, as old Hannibal said in the A-team, you know, who's got to have a plan when a plan comes together. But is it a real, that's what Boyce, Sean, was saying, is it really against the fact that Paul wanted to run it and didn't?
No, because that was back in January, and, you know, these days you can get horses, I mean, I would rather run horses, you know, having had a 3-month gap or coming in first very fit and very fresh. They're more lethal, and I'll go on to Mastermind in a minute. When you, just an example that you run them too quick after 2 runs. He was fitter on his first 2 runs than was he when he ran in January. And you can, well, I can anyway. I get horses fit and fresh, and then, you know, having a couple of runs on top of each other. So I think, my view, would be an advantage that he didn't run in January when he was wrong. So. But, you know, Paul does things differently to us, I suppose. But
one of the great things I love about...
I wouldn't worry about it.
One of the great things I love about novice chases, and I make a few quid novice chases every year, is everyone wants to price them up what they've done over hurdles. It's absolute rubbish.
Yeah.
It's crap. It's, you know, if my auntie had bollocks, she'd be my uncle, isn't it? You know, it's not run over hurdles. It's not the world hurdle. Yes, we all know that none of these would have finished anywhere near big bucks, but they've got 16 fences to jump.
Yeah.
And time and time again we see short-priced horses at novice chases who are 150 over hurdles, and they run on the... They run over fences, and I mean, I'm not saying so Paul's there, but I always think Paul's MO is a chase trainer. I mean, he's along the molds of Tim Foster. I think he'd be first to admit it. You know, you look at like Nicky Henderson with hurdlers and all that, but Paul, you know, how many gold cups is man? I've forgotten. But 1833 is a prime example for me of a Paul Nicholls. Again, 120 over hurdles and taking on 160 rated horse, whatever. He's £40 and now there's about 10. Okay. One thing I've got against Two, yeah. The one I got against 8, I forgot he won the hurdles at Newbury. So the one thing I got against him is he was 20-1 before he ran at Newbury, and now he's 8, and Tarablaze booted every fence out of the ground. And again, Phil Smith has looked at Tarablaze, rated 130, he's beaten 54 lengths, been absolutely ridiculous, putting off a 159. You know, don't start me on handicappers. But I'll just 8-1, the price for me is just not the price. I backed an horse at 20.
What is the price then, quickly, on this? What is a price on this? Because we don't like time for
I think it should be about a 12-14 to 1 shot.
Okay, but
he was 20-1 before he beat
What do you want to back in the race?
I backed Keller Spree in the race at 20-1, non-runner, no bet. I went round with his yard a couple of years ago, and going back to Michael Dagenham, I see him in his box. I've not seen at all a horse.
Don't think he runs in this.
No, I'm just saying with Michael Dagenham, the thing about him is that I don't pull to great big tall horses, I find, when they come into a fence and it's got a shorten, sometimes they can't.
He's not just tall, Michael Dagenham, he's got a lot of daylight underneath.
Anyway, we were talking about Keller Spree, and Johnny was just saying then, Patrick, because I thought Keller Spree was going for the 4-miler, and actually, no, he worked so well at that Leopard's Tail day. They are going for the RSA.
Says on here he runs for that. He goes in the Sun Alliance.
Yeah, he goes for the RSA. They've got some target in that.
And I would say that I wouldn't have Jesse's Dream on my mind. On my mind, right? Boston's Angel's not too bad from Ireland.
No.
But I think Keller Spree's very interesting.
And when I went round with his yard a couple of years ago, I looked at Keller Spree, and Woody said, a couple of years' time, this might be a Gold Cup horse. And he didn't say that about all the horses in the yard. And again, Michael Dagenham, he's just too big. He doesn't, when he's wrong, he can't get
There are
put
two
himself
negatives
straight.
about Keller Spree. For a start, he was beaten when he fell at Leopard Sound in the race that, to me...
You sure?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.